So I'm having dinner one night with this guy. He's an incredibly successful businessman. And as we're sitting there at dinner, he was explaining to me how he was investing in a company and he was super excited about the return he was going to get on that investment. At that same dinner, he was also talking to me about how he was going to invest in a stock. And he was super excited that he had gotten ahead of this thing and that this stock was absolutely going to blow up. Also at that dinner, he started talking to me about how he was going to a conference, just like this one year. He was going to invest in himself. That every time he goes to an event like this, he always picks something up that makes life better. As we continued through the dinner, he started to talk to me about his family. He shared with me how he was going to spend some time with his kids, how he was looking forward to spending a vacation with his wife, how he was spending some extra time at home. And when we walked away from the dinner, I thought to myself, this is a well-rounded individual. I can see why he's successful. And as I was walking to my car, all of a sudden, it was crazy. I got struck by this bolt of lightning, and I remembered this book called The Liberty of Our Language Revealed, written by a guy named Thomas Blackwell. And in that book, it talks about the power and the energy of our words and how our words can ultimately impact how water freezes. Our words can impact a bag of rice and whether it rots or not. It's crazy what our words can do. And so as I remembered that book, I started thinking, wait a minute, let me go back through this conversation real quick. And when I went back through the conversation, I noticed that he had talked to me about investing in a business, investing in a stock, and investing in himself, and spending time with his wife, spending time with his kids, and spending time on vacation. So I went and looked up the definition of the word invest and the definition of the word spend. And what I found was fascinating. The definition of the word invest says to put energy, time, money, or attention to with the expectation of a return. The definition of the word spend, a deficit, a minus. I bring that to your attention because you and I have about 45 minutes together. My expectation in the next 45 minutes is I need you to make an investment in this time. Get a return from it. I don't want you to spend time with me. I'm not interested in you walking out of here with a minus. Let's invest this time together so that we can make an impact in our businesses, in this industry that we love. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
I've got 3 stories for you today and 3 strategies. First story you just heard. Let's get to the second one. My slides will work. Maybe they won't. All right. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to 1 and a father to 9. That's right. Yeah, I got 9 babies. That's right, I got 9 babies. Anybody in here got more babies than me? Damn! And this is a big room, too. Golly! Yeah, I got 9 babies, man. I got 9 babies, and it's crazy because I never anticipated that I would be in the position that I'm in. I never anticipated that this is what my life would look like, and I still can't get these slides to go anywhere. There we go. A little bit of a delay. I'm also not going to use slides. Okay. So we got to go back in time just a little bit. I want to share a quick story with you. Okay? My dad is black. My mother is white. They got divorced when I was 11 years old. All right? Now, here's what's fascinating about that. My dad, who is black, got remarried and married a black woman. My mom, who's white, she got remarried and she married a white dude. And then they proceeded to move into an apartment complex, Greenlaw Garden apartment complex in Flagstaff, Arizona, 2 doors down from one another. So my dad and his wife lived at 2600 East 7th Avenue, apartment number 30, And my mom and her new husband lived at 2600 East 7th Avenue, apartment number 28, 2 doors down. Now the courts required that we had custody, right? My dad had us every other weekend. So 5 o'clock on Friday, my mom would be like, y'all need to go to your dad's. And we're like, Mom, over at Dad's house, there's 8 kids, 2 bedrooms. Over here, we got our own room. It's 2 doors down. Can we just hang out at Dad's and sleep here? Mom was like, nope. She would give us our suitcases. 5 o'clock on Friday, literally, I would leave my apartment and I would walk just like this. 2 doors down, over to Dad's house. And I'd stay over at Dad's house. And it was crazy growing up like that, right? Because Dad's house was the black house and my mom's house was the white house. And what I mean by that is every stereotype you could think about existed in these 2 houses. Like Dad's house was the black house, right? We had sports on TV all the time. We was eating collard greens. We was listening to gospel music. Like Dad's house was the black house. Mom's house was the white house, right? We was like hanging out at the bowling alley, eating American pie. She was drinking Budweiser. So I grew up in these 2 very different, unique environments. And growing up in those environments, it kind of created a little bit of an identity issue for me. Because my skin was too dark to be considered white, but it was too light to be considered black. And so I didn't really understand like where I fit in, right? And so as I went through high school and my early adult years, I kind of had this identity issue where I was everything on the outside for everyone else because I had no idea who I was on the inside. When I was around black folks, I'd act black, whatever that means. When I was with white folks, I'd act white, whatever that means. If I was with cowboys, I'd act like a cowboy. If I was with gangsters, I'd act like a gangster. I was everything on the outside for everyone else because I had no idea who I was on the inside. This story, and the lesson I need you to take from it, is you have to understand the answer to this question right here. Who are you? Because see, when I lived this life where I was everything on the outside for everybody else, when I lived this life where I was out there drinking and drugging and doing all of these things, hanging around with the wrong people, being in the wrong circles, I ended up going in and out of jail a bunch of times in my 20s. You can ask Scott, he was my boss at the time. He's like, wait, don't trip, right? He's the first guy to give me a job in the car business. I made a lot of mistakes, and ultimately, those mistakes that I continued to make led me down a path where I was burning bridge after bridge after bridge until I ended up homeless in San Diego, California. I had moved from city to city, circle to circle, different jobs, all the different things. And when I was homeless in San Diego, California, it was crazy because every single day was the same. I would get on a bus, ride that at night. They got 24-hour buses in San Diego. I'd get in the bus, I'd ride it at night to be safe. In the morning, I'd get off the bus, I'd walk around, I'd start looking for dimes, nickels, quarters, enough change so that I could get a sausage McMuffin with egg and an orange juice. Anybody know why sausage McMuffin with egg and an orange juice? So I could eat all the food groups. I mean, come on, let's go. Smart, I was a smart guy. All right. So once I had enough money for a meal, right, then I would go and I would sit on the beach and I would look at this house, and we're not going to get into that because we don't have enough time, but once I got done eating, then I'd spend more time looking for dimes, nickels, quarters, and change so that I could get back on the bus again and do it all over again. Now you would think the worst part about homelessness is that you don't have a roof over your head or that you don't have a place like a bed. You would think that's the worst part, but actually the worst part about homelessness is you become invisible. No one will make eye contact with you. They'll look above you, below you, to the left of you, to the right of you, but no one will ever look at you. And no one ever says your name. There's so much power in a name, right? So much identity attached to our name. We understand that in this industry, of course. There's a name on every dang building. No one ever says your name. So homelessness became hopelessness. Hopelessness became deep depression. Deep depression became suicidal thoughts. Suicidal thoughts became a suicide attempt. I attempted to drown myself in the Pacific Ocean. Luckily for me, I was plucked out of the ocean by a God I didn't believe in. He plucked me out of the ocean, he put me on the beach, and he said something to me that is my next lesson for you today. He said something to me that I hadn't understood because I'd heard it before from a guy named Jason Kitts. But I didn't understand it. And here's what he said to me. He said, you take yourself wherever you go. And when I heard that, I'm like, what does that mean? Is this some fortune cookie or something? You take yourself wherever you go. Like, what the heck is that? I don't know what that means. And then all of a sudden, like that, boom, it all flashed. My entire life, I had been in different jobs, different cities, around different environments, but the results continued to be the same. There was only one constant. You take yourself wherever you go. So fast forward, I ended up moving to a place called Kentucky. Anybody been to Kentucky? Give me a right hand up high for my Kentucky folks. Let's go. Moved my way to Kentucky. First time I ever felt like I was home, actually. But I moved to Kentucky, and I met this girl. Her name was Leslie, and I shook her hand, and she got pregnant. It was crazy, man. It's happened like 9 times. I shook your hand earlier. But I met this girl named Leslie, and we ended up getting together, and we had a kid, and obviously we've had many kids since then. But at one point I got a phone call while I was out in Kentucky, and when I got the phone call, it was my mom. And she was really upset. And I said, what's going on, Mom? And she said, it's your grandpa. Your grandfather's only got moments left to live. He's dying. They tried to do surgery on a cancer and it spread, and he's going to pass away. I said, okay, well, how much time does he have left? They said, well, he's only got minutes. I said, well, I'm all the way in Kentucky. I got to figure out a flight. I got to figure out a way to get there. It's going to take me a little bit while. I hope he will hang on, because my grandfather was one of the closest people to me. He was a role model to me. My grandfather was a military man his entire life. My grandfather was married to my grandmother for 49 years. She never had a driver's license, she never had a job, not because he told her she couldn't, but because she knew that she would be safe and they would do everything together. He stood about 6'2", and my grandfather always wore a shirt and tie. Always. Sunday, he'd come out of the room, he'd have a shirt and tie, he'd sit in the recliner, read his newspaper. I never once saw him without a shirt and tie. So my mom was like, yo, Grandpa's gonna die. I said, okay, I'm gonna try to get there. So I made arrangements, and it took me a day and a half to get back to Arizona. And when I got back to Arizona, I got to the hospital, and I went in, I said, is he still alive? They said, yeah, he's still alive, but just barely, you can go on in there. And so I go in the room, and when I go in the room, I see this body on a bed. And this body is couldn't have been 120 pounds soaking wet. Skin was translucent, it was hanging off his bones. Eyes were completely sunken in, I did not recognize the man on the table. But he was still alive. So I went out of the room, I said, is everybody here? And it was like, no, we're still waiting on your Aunt Julie. She's trying to get him from Florida, she'll be here soon. And so we hung out there in the hospital for another day while we waited on my Aunt Julie to arrive. And when my Aunt Julie finally arrived, the whole family was there. And we were all sitting in a circle, a little semicircle around my grandfather's bed. My grandfather's laying there in the middle, and everybody's a little bit upset. And out of nowhere, my grandfather says, hey, Everett. Now, Everett is my stepdad. He says, hey, Everett, I want you to come tell me my favorite joke. And we all knew where this was kind of going. I told you Grandpa was a military man, so he loved dirty jokes. So we knew where this was going. So my stepdad walks over to the table, or to the bed, and he leans over and he says, hey, Al. Al is my grandfather's name. He says, hey, Al, what do you call Moby Dick's father? My grandpa cracked a little bit of a smile. He said, whatever. He said, Papa Boner. And we all chuckled just like that. And tears were just pouring down our eyes. And then out of nowhere, my grandfather said, "Bring me my wife!" In this loud bellow. And my grandmother, all 4'2" of her, she's just a tiny little woman. She walked over to the bed. She climbed in it. My grandfather wrapped his arms around her and passed away. Now, I share that story with you for two reasons. This is your third lesson from a story. First thing I learned from that experience is we are spiritual people. Science cannot explain to me how my grandfather, who had moments left to live, was able to wait 2.5 days until his final family member arrived. Science can't explain to me how my grandfather, who had moments left to live, was able to get told his favorite joke and die with his wife of 49 years in his arms. We are spiritual beings. The second piece of that is that we're most comfortable in life right before death. Because there was a moment just before my grandfather passed away. There was a moment where all of a sudden, while he was being told his favorite joke and while he was wrapping his arms around his wife, there was a moment where all of a sudden the man on the table was like, it was Grandpa. Like I recognized him. His eyes had come back. His body had filled back in. He looked strong. He was no longer in pain. He was calm. He was peaceful. He was comfortable. We're most comfortable in life right before death. Now see, this is important because there's a lot of you in this room, I won't name any names, but there's a lot of you in this room who are either currently comfortable or seeking comfort. You see, we've been taught in this society that comfort is the goal. Comfort is the target. But I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to die yet. I got 6 daughters I'm trying to walk down the aisle. I got 3 sons that I'm trying to teach to be gentlemen in this chaotic world. I've got businesses to build and an impact to make, and my guess is you do too. Is that fair? So understanding we're most comfortable in life right before death, I'm going to challenge you to stop seeking comfort. Start seeking the things that challenge you to grow more, to do more, to be more. Is that fair? Okay, 3 stories. Now, with this new mindset and this new mentality that I had, I moved to Kentucky and I found out my wife was pregnant, right? Which I gotta tell you one thing really crazy too, being half black, half white, like I've got all these kids and each of my kids has been born with lighter and lighter skin tone. It's the craziest thing ever. I got one daughter that's got blonde hair and blue eyes. When she was born, I looked at my wife, I was like, honey, is that the Amazon baby? She was like, Amazon baby? I'm like, yeah, I'm on the road all the time. Amazon delivery guys here every day. Is this the Amazon baby? My wife was like, nah, honey, you're just running out of tone. Oh, she's a wonderful woman. So I get to this dealership in Kentucky, little place, Paris, Kentucky, right? There's this dealership there called Dan Cummins Chevrolet and Buick. Been there for right around 50 years. New ownership, Josh and Dusty Cummins just took it over. New ownership 11 days before I started working there. I went into that place, they gave me an opportunity. I started in sales, worked my way to sales manager, then general sales manager, and ultimately became the GM. Over a period of 6 years, with the help of incredible supportive owners and an amazing team, we were able to grow that dealership 800%. We went from selling 120 cars a month to selling 850 cars a month. Our best month, we sold 1,132 cars, 27 business days, closed on Sundays. And this is in a town population 9,600 people. Now people ask all the time, well, how do we do it? First things first, used cars. If you're a note taker, 2 words, used cars, write it down. When we reached the kind of peak of what we were able to do together as an organization, we were selling anywhere from 550 to 600 used cars a month, another 250 to 300 new. So here we are, we grew this dealership 800%, and I told you I'm going to give you 3 simple strategies so you can do the same. Is that fair? Okay, I don't have my slides, so I need you to draw a triangle in your brain. Okay? Do you know what a triangle is? Okay, just making sure. All right. Draw a triangle in your brain real quick, okay? We have overcomplicated this industry on a massive scale. Massive. It's really very simple, okay? You have a triangle. And in your triangle, on one side, you have inventory. Does anybody know what inventory is? Give me an idea. What's inventory? Yeah. What's inventory? Cars are inventory. What else?
Trucks.
Parts, yes, keep going. Time, right? Hours, right? Okay, so we know we have inventory. Okay, so one side of the triangle, boom, you've got inventory. Draw it like that. On the other side of the triangle, we have marketing. Now, as soon as you're done writing down the word marketing, I want you to put a big X through it on your paper. You'll understand why in a second. So we had a jingle out of Dan Cummins and went like this. Now, let me tell you one more time exactly how I feel. I'd rather drive to Paris for a Dan Cummins deal. That was our jingle. It's good. It's good. It's stuff, right? Times have changed from the radio days, folks. Marketing now, I want you to change that word for marketing, change it to the word attention. Anybody notice my tie?
Yes.
Anybody notice my tie before I got on this stage? Anybody notice my tie while I was out there? Do you realize there was thousands of people out there and you noticed me? Attention. That's the game today. The bottom of your triangle, inventory, marketing, attention. I'm still getting used to the change myself. And in the bottom, you're gonna write people in process. Now, everything in automotive fits in that triangle. Literally everything. And if you can grow in scale, this side, and the bottom at the same time, you can make that triangle as big as you want. But if you try to grow one side and not the other two sides, the whole triangle falls apart. Give me a left hand up high. It's okay, we're all safe here. My name's Glenn and I'm your friend. Give me a left hand up high if you ever went out and bought a whole bunch of cars all at once and then 6 weeks later regretted it. Because you got inventory, but you didn't handle the attention part. Or you didn't change the people in process. Anybody ever lose good people because you weren't doing enough business? You did a good job on the people in process part. You did a horrible job on the inventory and attention part. So, we got these three sides of the triangle, okay? Boom. Let's start with the inventory one. I'm going to give you one strategy right now that will change your entire used car game moving forward, okay? Ready? Replace what you sold yesterday. Very simple. Replace what you sold yesterday, okay? Let's say you sell 4 used cars yesterday, right? Whatever they are. You sell 4 used cars yesterday. What I want you to do is I want you to the next day, not the next week, not when you think about it, the next day, I want you to look and go, those 4 cars I sold, how many leads did I have on them? Okay, I had some leads. One of them was a white Volkswagen with pink polka dots, and it had been here 113 days. Don't replace that one. Okay? Just don't. All right? But the rest of them had 12 leads, 15 leads, 18 leads, whatever it is. Okay, great. So I'm going to replace that vehicle immediately. If it was black with 43,000 miles and 4 years old, I'm going to go buy a black one with 43,000 miles that's 4 years old. Why do I want to do that? Well, I had 15 leads on it, and how many of those leads did I just sell? 1. How many are left? 14. What do those 14 people want? The same black car, right? So if I replace it the very next day, what happens? Maybe I sell 2 out of 15. Or 3. Or 4. Do you see what I'm saying? You gotta replace what you sold the day before, but we can't do it in surges. You can't do it once a week. It has to happen every single day. Write this down. Anything done daily changes everything. Anything done daily changes everything. I've been working on picking up my running times. My boy Frank Knox is going to start running with me. He's the little guy over there. So Frank's gonna start running with me. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. So I try to shave off 30 seconds, I add 30 seconds of duration every week. Because if I run a little bit every day and I add 30 seconds a week, by the end of the year, I'm gonna be faster, right? Anything done daily changes everything. So we're gonna replace what we sold the day before. Now, here's what a lot of you currently do. You ready? We just had a record month! Woo! December was amazing! January sucks. Why? Because you didn't replace what you sold. You started December with 140 units, you started January with 70. Dude, you're screwing yourselves. And then what do? You go buy 50 used cars. And then service gets pissed because you brought in 50 used cars. And detail gets backed up because you brought in 50 used cars. And transportation is messed up because you brought in 50 used cars. And next thing you know, you got a bunch of aged units and you're pissed off and you're like, I hate these used cars. Anybody ever been there? Because I have. Okay, so number one, replace what you sold the day before. Just do it every day. Pretty easy, okay? Cool. Mondays, should we do it on Monday? Yeah, let's do it on Monday. What about on your birthday? Yeah, do it on your birthday. That'd be cool too. Okay, there's a guy named John Maxwell. Anybody ever heard of him? John Maxwell tells a story. He's at a family dinner. And the whole family's there and his wife's cooking a roast. And she cuts the end off the roast. And John says, honey, why'd you cut the end off the roast? And he said, well, honey, it makes it juicier and it makes it taste better. And it's exactly the way Mom makes it. And John goes, that don't make no sense. So he goes to his wife's mom and he says, hey, your daughter tells me you cut the end off the roast. Why do you do it? And she said, well, it makes it juicier and it makes it taste better. It's the way my mom did it. John's like, that don't make no sense. So he goes to his wife's mom's mom and says, hey, why did you cut the end off the roast? And she says, well, during the Great Depression, we couldn't afford a big oven. So we had to cut the end off the roast to get it to fit in the oven. You see, a lot of the things that you're doing in your stores made sense. Like, it's not like these are crazy ideas. They made sense at a time, they just don't make sense anymore. Feel me? So you gotta stop cutting the end off the roast, and it's really uncomfortable, but we're most comfortable in life right before death, and I'm not ready to die yet. Fair? Okay, so there's one. We gotta hustle. They didn't give me a lot of time. Okay, you need a strategy around attention. Okay, here we go. You've never heard this in any other session before, I promise. The future of attention is paid, organic social media. Paid, organic. Now, you're gonna take the next 3 days and you're going to hear about paid marketing. And you're going to go to vendor booths about paid marketing. And then you're going to hear people talk about organic marketing. We're going to post on social and make sure, hi, oh, let's sell the car, right? Like you're going to have all those conversations. But you're not going to hear paid organic because it's the future. So I'm giving you the inside tip. So execute on it when you leave here, okay? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take part of your marketing budget, your now attention budget, and I want you to invest in making organic content that will get attention. So you're paying for it, but you're not paying it, like you're not running it as a paid ad. You're paying to make something people will pay attention to. And then you run it organically. You connecting the dots here? I'm gonna give you an example if you don't believe me. This works. There's a guy named, what was his name again? What's his name? Oh, Mr. Beast. Anybody ever heard of Mr. Beast? Dude, he's a master at paid organic content. The guy will spend $2 million making a video. And then he posts the video organically. There's no sponsored ad on his videos. He posts it organically and it goes viral and he makes $20 million off a $2 million investment. Do you see what I'm saying? Is this Told you. Oh yeah, look. Here's everything we've been talking about. We're doing good. Oh look, toner. Man, we were doing great even without the slides, bro. We were right on. Okay, boom. Oh, there's John Maxwell. We just talked about that. Okay, good. Okay, we're on the attention side. Okay, good. So paid organic marketing. Okay, I'm gonna give you an idea. Feel free to steal it. Okay, that's what you should do. Okay, here we go. Does anyone ever buy a trade-in for like $100? Right hand up high if you've ever bought a car for $100. 200, 300. You know those cheap cars? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, what do you do with the cheap cars? Wholesale them off or something boring, right? Okay, here's what I want you to do with cheap cars from now on. Now, click this quick disclaimer, like you need to make sure this is legal. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that $100 car, and I want you to go out into the woods, and I want you to take a video camera, like my guy Brandon over here. I want you to take a video camera, a $100 car, and be out in the woods with an AK-47. And I want you to shoot the car. And I want you to blow it up. And then I want you to post the video on YouTube. And the title needs to say, Toyota Camry versus AK-47. See how simple this stuff is? Dude, we make things so complicated. Do you think people will watch that video? Toyota Camry versus white Volkswagen Beetle with purple polka dots. People will watch. And that's all you need right now is attention, attention, attention. We were in a town population, 9,600 people. How do you sell 1,000 cars out of a store with a population of 9,600 people? You get attention from all over the country. Fair? Okay, I promised you 3 stories, 3 strategies, last one, and then we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A. Okay. On the people and processes side, and I have it, oh, I forgot to bring it up here. Our friends at NADA, which I love NADA so much, we would not be in the industry we are today if it wasn't for NADA, for real. Like, incredible, incredible industry. Our friends at NADA back in 1975, circa 1985, and I have a copy of this document, they taught, and still in many ways teach, a certain process when it comes to your salespeople, right? They teach you a couple things. If you want to make $1 million a year, you sell 100 cars a month, you make sure fixed ops is covering your expenses, and you should have 1 salesperson for every how many cars? 10 cars you want to sell, right? That was written back in 1975 to 1985, and I believe just like when they cut the end off the roast and put it into the oven, I believe that made sense then. It does not make sense now. Crazy. Back then, you could only sell 10 cars because you could only sell to your area. There was no internet. You couldn't generate leads. There was no social media. What about now? How many tools have you guys paid for? And all your salespeople are still selling 10 cars a month. It's crazy. But yet, I can go to McDonald's and I can get the same golden crispy French fries at any McDonald's in the United States of America. Do people at McDonald's make more or less money than the people that work for you? Less. But how come they can get the same dang fries every single time? Well, I figured it out. I can get golden crispy French fries at McDonald's anywhere in America and Italy, by the way. I took my daughter to Italy. 4 days in, she's like, Dad, I want McDonald's fries. I'm like, we're in Italy. I'm off the coast. The Capri. She's like, fries. I'm like, okay. How do they do it? Well, here it is. You ready? On the bag of McDonald's French fries, the instruction bag, does anyone know what the very first instruction is? Open the bag. That's what it says. It says open the bag. The reason they're able to get the exact result every single place is because they've dumbed it down so simple that whether you're good looking, not good looking, intelligent, not intelligent, talented, not talented, hardworking or not hardworking, you get the same dang French fry. And that's what should be happening in your stores. Too many of you are relying on hardworking, really driven, charismatic, talented people. And then every time I'm talking to one of my dealers, they're like, we can't find anybody. We can't find any talent. I'm like, how long has that been a problem? Forever. What are you doing about it? Nothing. How about we do something about it? How about we create a system and a process that guarantees that every single person does their job, which is to sell a car every day that they're at work. Has anybody ever thought of that? It's pretty crazy, right? And I know some of you are uncomfortable. You're like, oh my gosh, dude, 5-car Fred. He could never sell a car every day that you're at work. Well, he could if you had a very simple system and process in place that guarantees he sells one every single day. If you get 3 customers in your showroom in front of 5-car Fred, will he close one? Yes or no? 5-car Fred at your store, your worst employee. You get 3 customers in the showroom in front of him. Will he sell one? Of course he will. Someone will go in and TO it, someone will go in and close it, or they're just there to buy anyway. Okay, so that means I gotta get 3 people in front of each salesperson every day that they're at work. How do I do that? Well, I have to have 5 appointments. Because statistics show that 60% of my appointments are gonna show up. So if I have 3 appointments, I can't get 3 people in front of Fred. But if I have 5 appointments, I can get 3 people in front of Fred, which guarantees Fred sells a car. How do I get 5 appointments? Well, I gotta have 8 qualified leads, contacted leads. It's just math, not magic. Here's the formula, write it down. 8 leads, 5 appointments, 3 shows equals 1 sold. Per salesperson, per day. Now, a bunch of you are going to walk out of here, you're going to do math, and you're going to say, Glenn, we are nowhere near that. And I agree, because you're still doing paid marketing when you should be doing paid organic marketing or attention getting. Make sense? We got to put all 3 pieces of the triangle together. Okay? So strategy number 1, replace what you sold the day before. Strategy number 2, is you need to have a system in place that guarantees 1 car per day, every day that they're at work. And here's the last thing I'm going to leave you with. Some of you are already thinking about John, who's been at the dealership for 18 years, and how you know he probably should have spread his wings a little while ago, but he's a great guy. And I appreciate that, and I love people. As you can tell, I shook many of your hands as I walked into this place. We have a policy with our company, the company that I run right now. We actually have 2 policies. Policy number 1 is always act in the best interest of the company. Because if the company doesn't exist, none of us have opportunity. Is that fair? You have the right to run your dealerships. You have the right to expect excellence from people. You are giving them an opportunity. We should always act in the best interest of the company. And this is the second one. Adequate performers will be graciously asked to take their talents elsewhere. When we let people go for performance reasons, it's not that we're harsh or they suck or anything like that. It's just that they thought that adequate was okay, and it's not in my organization. So go be adequate somewhere else. I still love you. I do. But I'm a spiritual person, like I talked about earlier, and I believe that we're called to be far more than just adequate. Is that fair? So as leaders, it's our responsibility to hold other people to that same standard. Okay? Okay, on that note, 3 stories, 3 strategies. This is the big takeaway right here. Apply these things into your stores. Apply these things into your dealership. These 3 strategies alone will help you grow. Maybe not 800%, but pretty close. I'm going to take some questions, but thank you so much for having me here at NADA today. Does anyone have a question for me? Yes, sir.
What's an example of some of your content?
Example of some of my content. One video that went really viral was there was a dealer in our area that had sent out a flyer that said that everybody wanted a TV, and never bash another dealer, by the way, that said that people wanted a TV. A kid that was 6 years old got a hold of the flyer and believed he wanted a TV. Told his mom we wanted a TV. Mom said, you didn't win a TV. He said, we want a TV. So she called the dealership. Dealership said, yeah, you want a TV, come on in. So her 6-year-old puts on a suit and he goes to the dealership. When he gets there, did he win a TV? How do y'all know? How do y'all know? Y'all heard this story? He gets there and he didn't win a TV. So his mom takes a picture of him in a suit on the car dealership lot and says, they told my boy he wanted a TV, he didn't win a TV. She posted it on social media. Guess what happened? Blew up, everybody all over it, and they kept tagging us. Dan comes, because they know we don't do things like that. So we saw the tag, so I got together with my managers, some of them were back here in the back of the room, got together with the managers. We went to Walmart, we bought a TV, we bought a Nintendo Switch, we bought some video games, we filmed the whole thing. Went back, called the lady, filmed that, said, why don't you bring your son in here? We believe he deserves a TV. We don't want him to have a bad taste in his mouth when it comes to the car industry. She shows up, kid in suit, we film the whole thing, give him a Nintendo Switch. At the end, he says, I don't remember what it's called, but I wanted it for Christmas. And I'm like, yeah, go! We film it, we post it, sold hundreds and hundreds of cars. It went massive viral all over the place. People drove from all over to do business with us because we were on a mission to eradicate the negative stigmas associated with the car business. So taking the things that people know that we already know people hate about the business, not bashing another dealer, but feel free to bash our industry and turn it around to where you're the good guy.
YouTube?
What's that?
YouTube mostly for that stuff?
YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. TikTok's the big one now. Yes, sir.
Replace a car every day that you sell, you get most of your inventory from the auction then?
Yes. Now, you want that to change over time, and times have changed. So we had a KBB buy center, and private party acquisition is like really, especially right now, is kind of where it's at. So here's the model. I want to replace what I sold yesterday. First place I'm going to go is my service lane. Do I have anyone coming through service lane in the next couple days? I can try to buy that. Second place I'm going to go is to the private party marketplace. Can I find that same vehicle private party? If the answer is no to 1 and 2 or A and B, then we go to the auction and we replace it. Because auction vehicles are only painful and non-profitable when they age. But if you already have demand for a product and you can turn it fast, auction can still be profitable and is important. But if you can get the other 2 ways first, go that way. Who's next? Thought I saw somebody else. Are we good? Yes, sir.
I just got a data nerd question for you.
Yeah.
Looking back, best guess on like how you found the balance between the 3 points on the triangle to know like I have too many people or I have too much inventory or too much content, nothing happening. Like how did you find the benchmarks for where to stop?
Yeah, totally got the answer to that. We've complicated this industry big time, and there's a whole lot of data going in, so I'm a dumb guy. Like, I need things to be so simple. So the only number I can think about is 1. I want every salesperson to sell 1 car a day every day that they're at work. If I don't have enough inventory to make that happen for my salespeople, I need more inventory. If I don't have enough leads to make that happen for my salespeople, I need more leads. Or I need less salespeople. There's 2 ways you can go with this, right? So all of our decisions were based off of 1 car a day per salesperson, 3 people in the showroom, 5 appointments, 8 leads. Everything's based off that.